All right, good evening. Tonight is Wednesday, January 14th, 2015. The time is 7:30. I will begin calling the roll. Chairman Morris, Commissioner Blue,
Present.
Commissioner Cotton,
Here.
Commissioner Hesner,
Here.
Commissioner Heidner,
Here.
Commissioner Mulcrone, Commissioner Gorog. We have a quorum. At this time, due to the chairman's absence, hear a motion to recommend a chairman pro tem.
Go ahead. I recommend Jim Heidner act as chairman pro tem for this meeting.
Motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, I'll call roll. Commissioner Blue,
Yes.
Commissioner Cotton,
Yes.
Commissioner Hesner,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidner,
Yes.
Commissioner Mulcrone, Commissioner Gorog, Commissioner Morris.
Okay, on the agenda today is a public hearing for case number 14-10, which is a petition filed by Max Nix of Riva Development Partners, LLC of Chicago, and it relates to properties currently known as the Oaks of Vernon Hills, the section which is currently zoned B1 General Business. And they're looking for an approval to amend the zoning classification from B1 General Business to R7 Multiple Family Residential, PUD, to amend the special use permit that was previously granted for a planned unit development to allow the development of multiple family residential buildings, along with certain variations, the preliminary and final site plan and landscape plan approvals, preliminary and final approval of the architectural elevations and signage, and preliminary and final approval of the plat of subdivision or vacation if necessary. And did you want to lead into that, or did you want the petitioner to?
I can lead in. So, as was previously stated, a 304-unit development was approved titled the Oaks of Vernon Hills. At that time, the triangle piece of property was zoned B1 with the thought that it would one day ultimately be commercial. However, in light of the strong multifamily housing that's been currently ongoing at the already built Oaks, they look to propose a rezoning to their current proposal. I should note that the item number 5, the preliminary and final plat of subdivision or vacation, is not required. They do plan to utilize the existing easements and do plan to utilize other easements, but those do not require Planning and Zoning Commission approval. Those will be handled by the village board, and those should be more of an administrative function for their operations. In terms of variations that do require approval, the one is the 44-foot rear yard setback, as well as reduction in the minimum size requirements for multifamily dwellings. Those are identical sizes to the previously approved plans for the Oaks of Vernon Hills. Just to make mention. Other items, just of note, when the Oaks was initially approved, one of the items that was discussed was the need for a traffic study. That was done with the thought for the B1 zoned lot. That was done with the thought of the high traffic intensity that a commercial use would have. However, after speaking with our public works director, who are also village engineer, he indicated that the traffic will be much less than a commercial, and so a traffic impact study would not be required for that potential use. Otherwise, the conditions of approval are outlined in your packet. They also cite the ordinance approving the Oaks of Vernon Hills, so any items that were related to the entire planned unit development will be included as part of the approval to ensure continuity throughout the entire site.
Okay. Did the petitioner care to add anything at this time?
Yes, good evening, Matt Nix with Riva Development Partners. I'm joined by my business partner, Warren James, Blake Lunt, and Steve Spinell of P&Z Builders, who is the general contractor in the property. We put together a series of slides really just summarizing.
Excuse me, before you go any further, are any of those people going to speak as well, or just yourself?
Probably, if you have questions.
If they could come forward and raise
Sure,
their right
Warren.
hand, we'll swear you in.
Sure.
do you promise that the testimony you present tonight to this Plan Commission is the truth and the whole truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we put together just a series of slides to illustrate, for the benefit of the Plan Commission, what we're proposing. We put together an overall slide and a close-up of the plan. But really, the reason we're here tonight is that, really it's due to the success that we're seeing in the marketplace right now for the project. We've been working on this for quite a while. We've been very excited. We've always thought this is a tremendous location, and it really fits a niche and a need for the community, and that's proven to be the case. With the initial approval, it was for 304 units. We opened our doors. Well, we took our first occupancy the last week in August, but we really didn't officially open the clubhouse until mid-September. And just in that short period of time, we've leased 80 units. We've got 52 occupancies, which we think is tremendous, particularly because of the time of year that we delivered. Usually, the real ramp up in leasing would take place in the spring through the summer, and unfortunately, we had a chilly winter last year. You may recall that caused some delays, but we couldn't be happier with the way the lease up is going. And as such, we had in our initial agreement with the land seller an option on this piece, and we had always envisioned that if leasing and the market was there for us, this would be an ideal solution given the continuity of product, given the fact that the use, we believe, and our earlier markets, our traffic report indicated the traffic would be less impactful with this use. So, based on the leasing velocity, in discussions with our investment partner, everyone, decided that this would be a good opportunity to come back to the village to rezone or to explore the opportunity to add another building. I'd be happy to click through the slides for you, and we're also here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay.
So you can see here, this is an aerial photo that we took. I bet this is probably, it's December. So all of the construction started on the north end. Well, it started with the clubhouse, and then we've been working from the north end to the south. The subject property is phase 2. So phase 1 was about 27 acres. Phase 2 is about 3 acres. And with the initial PUD, we basically did all the infrastructure. We did the connecting, the detention, and the landscape frontage along Route 45. And then you can see again, the site plan, the 30-acre site, the 304 units on the phase 1, and then the 32-unit building on phase 2, where we have 32 units, roughly 70% one-bedroom units, the balance being two-bedroom units. The building has 10 individual garages and 52 surface spaces, just under the 2.0 ratio for parking, which, particularly given the fact that these are 70% one, 30% two bedrooms, we feel is more than adequate to serve this immediate area for parking. And it's proven to be the case based on the lease up so far. And there you can see a close-up. A couple things to note. We really oriented the building to try and maximize the setback off of Route 45. And you can see here the closest point at the southwest corner is 140 feet setback off the road. We provided, initial plan had 2 points of access off Oakleaf Drive, but in working with the village staff, we determined that it would be best to just have one primary access, or a single access off Oakleaf Drive, and make up the balance with parking. We oriented the building so it, again, we pushed this as far up to the northern property line as we could to maximize the setback off 45 while maintaining a reasonable setback off the northern property line. We think that's going to be just a great orientation, because to the north there's the stand of trees. It's probably another 120 feet before you get to the office building and the parking to the north, so it's going to be tucked in there real nice. And The elevations, we submitted the initial, the approved elevations for Phase 1 just to make the point that the buildings are identical to Phase 1. The only distinction is we have a blue scheme and a green scheme. So the elevations indicate the green scheme. We're actually, but the initial PUD approved both colors. So this is the actual color. That's the actual building. That was completed, I think, in October, but that is the building that you could go out and see the colors on the site today.
So, Matt, that's the building that you're proposing, or the color scheme that you're
That's the
proposing?
color, that's the color. So, and
For the
it's,
new one?
yeah, it's just a function of the alternating color scheme. So we're proposing the blue and taupe buildings. And you can see the elevations here were the ones that were approved in 2013. That's the green scheme. We just included some interior photos of the models. The units, again, are identical. You'd note that we're asking for the same variance for minimum unit size. Units are identical, so the same thing that was approved in Phase 1. This is our one-bedroom model. We have a light cabinet scheme, light granite scheme, happens to be in the one-bedroom, and then our model, the dark scheme, in the two-bedroom. Of the 80 leases, 60 of those leases are for what we call the flats. So we have 48 townhomes and 256 flats. Based on the absorption, we're actually ahead of schedule on the flats, slightly behind schedule on the townhomes, but the net, we're overall ahead of schedule. So we think the introduction of more flats is totally consistent with what we're seeing in the marketplace. And that's pretty much what we had for the formal presentation, but we are here to answer any questions you might have.
What is your expected population from this development when you're fully built out?
Total number of people?
Residents?
You know, honestly, I don't know that we have a specific population count. I can tell you
How many
that
total units again?
that's, well, currently we're 304, and we'll have, the total unit count would be 336 with this additional 32 units. Anecdotally, what we're seeing are that the flats are generally attracting, you know, single people or maybe young couples. We're getting a variety of people for the townhomes, but, you know, by and large, it's, you know, we're getting empty nesters. We have generated very few school-age children. But, you know, so I would say generally probably one per bedroom would be the, you know, consistent with what we're seeing.
Okay.
One person per bedroom.
And you currently don't have the other access to the development constructed or access, it's not accessible at least.
For the
The
eastern.
corporate woods.
Oh, no, we do. It's
Constructing?
built, but it's blocked off during construction
Okay.
period. But it's fully improved.
Based upon
We're talking, let's see if I can find it.
Based upon where you're at in the development process, when do you expect that to be open for use?
Well, it's technically it's open. It's just, it's,
Did you go to the aerial?
So it's,
oh, yeah.
currently it's open, though during off hours, when construction hours are not open, it is gated.
Yeah, so you can see it, it kind of disappears in the woods, but it's open, it's paved, there's a curb cut. I think all but the final lift is in place. So
I've
it's,
driven through there many times.
yeah, it's landscaped, it's, you know, we just block it off primarily. The way we're doing it is, as we deliver build, I think right now we have it, after working hours, we have it fenced off here and here, and then we have this whole section, basically all the southern portion is completely fenced off to protect, you know, after hours for safety reasons, safety and security.
Have you had any questions or concerns from that property owner to the north through construction? Has anybody,
The industrial building?
Yeah.
No, we haven't. I think hopefully we've done a good job of staying in communication with them. They had some language that we were required to add to the leases. We haven't, to the best of my knowledge, had any complaints from our residents for any noise or anything generated next door, nor I don't think
Right,
we've-
as I recall, they were worried about their influence
calling.
on the residents versus the residents' influence on them, so.
Right, so, and we've had people, so you can't see it here, but we've had occupancy in the townhomes right here since the last week in August, and then occupancy, I mean, we're now, I think maybe this is the last building that hasn't been, has this one been CO'd? Do we know? Okay, so, but people have been living there for, several months, and I don't think we've had any complaints.
Well, I for one think that what you've constructed out there is pretty amazing.
Thank you.
You know, it's been fast, it's looks great. The site is always tidy. You know, it seems like everybody's doing the right thing. And it's been a pretty amazing construction project. I'm pretty impressed with the way everything is laid out there.
Well, thank you.
'Cause I've driven through there
very proud of it.
numerous times.
We can't
and
wait
it
till
really does
spring.
look good.
When the landscaping comes in, we think it's going to be phenomenal.
Well, when you said the last winter was hellish, it was hellish as far as building anything. It's ridiculous. And still, you guys made great progress, so that's kudos to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just have one little qualm, and that's the height of the berm out on 45. You've listed it as a foot. It looks like a rather large area. Is there a way we can raise it up just a little to help with whatever lights come out of the parking lot?
I'll turn that over to Ward.
Get the cursor to come alive here. All right, we do have a close-up. We are bound on all four sides by existing grade. So we have the bike path, which is that's along Route 45. We get the existing road, the property line to the north, and the detention pond to the west. So we're working within those constraints. The vertical rise from the existing bike path to the top of the berm is actually 4 feet, but sloping down the backside is 1 foot. We are constrained by village code to a 4-to-1 slope, maximum 4-to-1 slope. If there were some relief on that, we could get that berm higher sooner and then come back down to the parking lot. So we are, I think, in alignment that we'd like to have the greatest screening possible between the parking area and Route 45. So we're happy to work with the village and the village engineer to enhance the landscaping, to boost the height of the berm. We just need a little relief on the grades.
Well, I don't want to speak too far out of turn for the village engineer, but I do think that should additional landscaping be provided, which is something that could be added, it's kind of a condition of approval of just making sure that, low level and, screening that can provide proper shielding. If that's in the plans, I think that should, accommodate that need. In terms of the slope, talking a little bit that I did with Dave Brown, he did reference a 4-to-1 ratio, and that is something that I think the village would like to maintain. Just from an engineering perspective, I think that's something that they feel much more comfortable having, with the thought that maybe some additional measures could be taken through landscaping that could mitigate.
Yeah, we can explore rock outcroppings, a short or small knee wall, I don't want to call it retaining wall because it wouldn't be structural, something to elevate the grade to allow that berm to continue upwards and then more steeply slope down on the backside. We're on the same page. We want the screening.
Okay.
So we'll work together to
That's-
achieve that.
That was just something to do a little, just to block those what's aiming out, that's all. So, otherwise, I'm good.
Thank you.
Just one item to just briefly note for the commission. In terms of rezoning, section 21.7 of the zoning ordinance require requires the commission to make findings based on the evidence presented by the petitioner and the items listed below in your packet. There's a total of 6 items that are underlined, as well as responses in a report as it relates to the property, zoning classification, and other items that are included. But if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those as well.
What page are you on?
Page 2. Sorry.
Okay, this is a public hearing, so at this time, if there's someone from the public who cares to comment, or they may come forward and identify themselves, stating their name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Gary Gordon. I'm actually a resident of Lincolnshire, 29 Brunswick Lane, but I'm here as school board president for District 103, which is the district that will serve this area. We felt it was important, and I apologize for not contacting you in advance, I just learned of this today, to contact you and at least express our deep concern about any additional expansion. We are going through some very significant challenges with the new students that are coming into our school district that serves Vernon Hills as well. We are absolutely at capacity. We actually just finished our community visioning process. We had over 600 residents who responded to surveys. We had 70 residents, including Vernon Hill residents, that again we served, that came together for a day. And the number one concern was classroom space and classroom clouding. We are literally at capacity. Real world example, we were just informed as the school board this week, we have 5 new students coming in, which may seem like nothing, but we're at a point where in that particular math section, we have 32 kids in those classrooms. So we're now in a position of either having class size in excess of 35 or trying to find an ability to hire another teacher, find another classroom. The other major concern, the other way these developments are really beginning to impact us, are busing. We're also looking at our busing, and as our busing route spread out further and serve more and more students, we have kids that are as young as kindergartners on buses in excess of an hour. And so we are just truly concerned with our capacity to continue to serve more and more. And I know we're coming to the party late, but I know this is just a small expansion, but we felt it was very important to come here and express our concern about any additional students. So I wanted to share that. The other piece that I'd mention, I know there certainly are impact fees. This isn't a matter of money for us. This is truly an ability to serve for us. And I know there's also formulas that are used to calculate the number of students. We've taken a look at our numbers ourselves, and we were fortunate to meet with the village manager some months ago. We're seeing, depending on the type of development, the new developments, we're getting about a 1-to-5 to a 1-to-10 ratio of students. So in some of these developments, for every 5 units, we're getting another student. So these are really, really beginning to have significant impacts. And again, we are simply out of space and are concerned about our ability to serve the students in Vernon Hills and Lincolnshire and Buffalo Grove and the areas we serve. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
No, I want to ask the question. Sure. So you've had 5 new students.
Right.
Recently.
Right.
So where are these students coming from?
We're in fact impacted by developments from a number of different communities. But it's really the Vernon Hills new developments that are really impacting us. I think that, and again, we need to take responsibility. We are late to the party in looking at this impact, but it's something that these developments are happening in Vernon Hills, where we serve a portion of your community in terms of the schools, but not a large community. So I think the schools necessarily haven't been a primary concern. And it really, really is beginning to impact us. And we shared that information with the village some months ago, where we're actually seeing the students actually coming from. So I can't tell you where those 5 students are coming from. I'm just using that as an example of truly that's where we're at in terms of capacity.
So the developments in Vernon Hills are impacting the school districts?
Oh, certainly, absolutely.
Okay. So this is a very new development.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows how many children are going to impact this.
Correct.
But it seems like the established developments are the ones that are impacting the school district.
It's
at least
both.
It's both?
Sure. Well, obviously, future plan development's not impacting us to this day, but we are just really concerned about how we're going to continue to serve more students. We have tried to maintain class sizes around 25 or less. We are pushing 30, and we are truly out of classroom space. So it's not just a matter of we don't want larger class sizes. We have no more space. So we are really challenged as to what we need to do from a building perspective. So we're looking at that, we're looking at our master planning, we're trying to figure out what we need to build, but we just do not have the capacity.
Yeah, that's where I was wondering about, because usually school districts, they look in the crystal ball
Right.
all the time, and they have 5 and 10-year plans.
Right,
and
absolutely.
They look at all this stuff. So, but, what were they doing 5 years ago and 10 years ago?
Sure, and obviously I can let Mr. Stanley address that better as our business manager. Our superintendent would have been here, but he's out of state. There's really a couple things that have impacted us in ways we can't predict. So we do use, I think your schools probably use the same model. It's the Casarda model. He's a PhD. He puts out projections. One, those projections have been off. That's been a reality. The other issue is that it's not simply the number of students, but with new mandates for education, we have classrooms that otherwise might have been classrooms that are now being mandated to offer additional services. So we're actually losing classroom space at the same time. So again, I think that we need to take responsibility. We haven't been on top of these developments the way we needed to be, but now that we are really feeling it, we are very concerned about any additional pieces.
And it's part of the educational evolution too, like you said, additional services, different programs, what the children are being offered and the families, whatnot, so forth.
Certainly.
So it's an evolution.
Certainly.
And evolution takes up space, doesn't it?
It does, and again, it's really two concerns. It's the space, and it's also our busing times. When we've got kindergartners sitting on a bus for an hour, that's very concerning to us. And as we push out our boundaries, and as those pushed out boundaries become more dense, that will continue to be a problem for us, and we will see long busing times. And we're thrilled that we offer a great educational product that people want, and, I drive down 45 and I see the signs, District 103 schools. I mean, people are proud of that, and we're proud of that. And it's not that we don't want to serve, we're just worried that the product that we're able to offer is really beginning to suffer because we just do not have the capacity to do that. So, thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else care to speak at this time?
Hi, my name is Dan Stanley. I actually don't even live in the state, but I live at 108. Where do I live? 10822 61st Street in Kenosha. However, I serve as the business manager for Lincolnshire Prairie View School District, which is the school district that Mr. Gordon is the president on the board. And I just wanted to share first, just thank you for providing us the opportunity to kind of share some of our concerns. And even thank you to Joe for giving me a call and letting me know that this is developing. It's been a step forward, I think, in our working together as developments come up. And we have relationships with a number of, we're a pretty small district, 1,700 kids, but we touch a number of different communities because of kind of how we're positioned. And so I appreciate just how we've kind of grown in our relationship. And what I would just encourage continuing of and even a growth of is kind of a partnering with us to really look at the impact of this on our students and the student impact. And I understand the 300 units, and there's ways that you can calculate how much we think that students might come in. I would strongly encourage the village to look at that and to take that into consideration when looking at their developments. Even partnering with us because we have some unique circumstances in our district that we've had. We have a very attractive district, and we're very happy and proud of that. But we want to be able to maintain that as well. And as Mr. Gordon said, we truly are kind of at our seams. And I do recall when the first development, or forgive me, the first version of this was approved, and kind of talking to the village, maybe in the realm that they were expecting is around 40 students or so. And for us, I mean, if you're looking at 40 students, that's an entire classroom. And for us, we don't have an extra classroom kind of sitting there. And so we're right now looking at ways to expand our footprint, reutilize square footage that we have. It is particularly difficult in this time. We're just growing a lot faster than other districts. Most of the other districts around us are decreasing enrollment or kind of flat enrollment. Pardon me. We're a little bit rare that we're increasing enrollment, and we've been increasing for the last a few years here. So I just appreciate the opportunity to share, and just wanted to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Sherry Thomas. I live at 303 Barn Swallow in Vernon Hills. I'm speaking for two reasons. One is I'm a board member at Lincolnshire School District 103. So, and also obviously a Vernon Hills resident. So I'd like to echo what Mr. Gordon said in terms of concern, and Mr. Stanley. So in terms of concern about class sizes, not only as a board member, but also as a parent of, Vernon Hills children who go to school there. And one, just because the class sizes are so big, and two, because the bus ride is very long from here. So it's a, 40-minute bus ride, and will be longer when my kids have to stop now at the Oaks to pick up all those other kids to get there. So for a 7:50 start, my kids already get on at 7:03, and you're talking getting on the bus before that. It's very early, and it is a concern. Also, I just want to say, just as a Vernon Hills resident, I'm concerned about the traffic. I heard what you said about the traffic study, and it would be less than if it was commercial, but it is a concern. Driving down 45, trying to get into Stone Fence is a nightmare. And, so having to take side streets and go through other people's subdivisions to get to ours is not what I know that you had intended. But it's an unintended consequence of all the building. And I'm concerned about, I also understand that 43 houses is not that many more. It is still enough. I would just add one more thing, reading, in the news about the top high schools, and Stevenson being one of them. And then when you read comments online, I saw a number of comments of people who said, it's awesome because there's many places to rent where my kids can go to Stevenson. And though I understand these are 1- and 2-bedroom buildings and they're only forecasting 40 students, I cannot believe that it's only going to be that many because of the school districts. So I just wanted to share my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, there being no further comment from the public, we'll close the public hearing portion of this meeting. And, you gonna say something?
No.
Oh,
Just getting ready.
are there any other questions from the commission? Okay. Hearing none, we have a standing motion to approve. Before I get to that, I do want to submit that the petitioner has responded to section 18.3 of the zoning ordinance, which is required for special use, and they provided that to us. And then we'll continue with the motion. We have a standing motion to approve, and we are to approve the amending the zoning classification from B1 general business to R7 multiple family residential PUD for the property, and to amend the special use permit for a planned unit development to allow development of multiple family residential buildings subject to the variations stated previously, which include allowing a 44-foot 7-inch rear yard setback and allow the reduction in minimum size requirements for 1- and 2-bedroom units. And also subject to other conditions, compliance with the architectural elevations dated December 19th, 2012, the engineering plans dated January 7th, 2015, the plat of easement grant for Lot 1 dated December 1st, 2014, landscape plans dated January 7th, 2015, and 13 other conditions for the entire site. You really want-
No, yeah, I mean,
as listed in our packet. And then I think maybe we'll add to point number 11 there concerning the berming and putting in language consistent with what the petitioner said he would agree to, as far as maybe adding some structure element to it so that the berm could be higher.
now just to clarify, I think there was a comment made that it wouldn't be structural in nature, but it would be,
A blocking wall or something along those lines. Or really thick bushes.
What terminology did you use?
We would propose stone outcropping or a non-structural retaining wall, something less than 29 inches or less than 30 inches to effectuate greater elevation change between the parking lot and the top of the berm.
I don't even know if it would have to be that tall.
Less than that. That's the key. Thank you.
So in the parking lot with a non-structural blocking wall or stone outcropping,
To serve as a deterrent for headlights on
Okay.
Route 45.
got it.
Okay, any other additions?
Just to note that one of the plans that was included in the general compliance with, we submitted a revision just to adequately notes the townhomes to the east of the property are not part of the proposal. That was an error on my part, but in the submittal documents, and it's only the 32-unit apartment complex that was presented, dated January 8th, 2015.
That replace one of the other questions I just-
It'll be incorporated into the engineering plans.
Okay. Right. We have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second, any comments? Please call the roll.
Commissioner Cotton?
Yes.
Commissioner Hesner?
Yes.
Chairman Heidner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mulcrone? Commissioner Gorog? Commissioner Morris?
Yes, too.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Blue?
Yes. I forgot.
See, always when I start in the middle. So that was for the rezoning. Or do you want, I'm sorry, was that motion to take it all as one item?
Yes,
All is one.
all is one.
All as one? Okay. All right.
Okay, we have
Um,
4-0 vote on that, so that moves on to the board for consideration, and that will, you know the timing on that?
Correct. That will not appear before the village board at our January 20th meeting. That's next week, Tuesday. There's conversation with the village board right now as to the duration of our February 3rd scheduled meeting. So I need to follow up with them to determine if there's adequate time to make sure that that's voiced. We will make sure that everyone is properly notified when that's appeared, and your comments will be noted in the report as being present and voicing your concerns as related to additional children for the development. So it'll either be February 3rd or potentially the next meeting thereafter, which will be February 17th, which is a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. But I'll have an answer for that tomorrow. So I'll follow up with everyone and further.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, I don't think we have any development review.
Well, one item which I know that the school district will certainly want to be here is we do have a concept presentation appearing before the village board on this next Tuesday, the January 20th. This is a preliminary, again, very conceptual appearance by petitioners that we don't charge for anything. It's get a recommendation for the village board to pursue a meeting before the Planning and Zoning Commission. There is Swanson Architecture is looking to propose a 56 single-family unit at the southwest corner of Buffalo Grove Road and Route 45. It'd be between 3 and 4 bedroom homes with 2.5 to 3 car garages, with home values of approximately $800,000 or more. This is a very conceptual phase. This is an unincorporated Lake County. This would require both an annexation as well as a special use, allowing a planned unit development to allow these homes. Currently, the lot size is going to be approximately 7,800 feet, which square feet, excuse me, which is roughly an R3 or R4 zone district, relatively consistent with Greg's Landing. Again, this is very conceptual nature, so this is definitely an opportunity, to the point that was made earlier, of making sure to be here at the outset to voice concerns. This will be a meeting that will take place, again, January 20th. That's next week, Tuesday. 7 o'clock is the board meeting. It'll take place at the committee of the whole, which happens immediately following the board meeting. It is going to be a rather lengthy meeting, so I just will preface with that, but there'll certainly be an opportunity for comments or questions as it relates to that development.
What was the location on that again?
It is the southwest corner of Buffalo Grove Road and Route 45. It's currently the, what homes are there? It's,
There's a couple residences, there's a large, there's large ranches, there's two of them there between the 45 and the creek.
yeah, it's Martin Sislo Properties. There's a home right now that will not be impacted. That's along Buffalo Grove Road to the west. That home will remain. There's a home that's for sale there, and that's going to be where one of the proposed access points is. There'll actually be 2 access points, one from Route 45 and one from Buffalo Grove Road. The exact nature of that is still to be determined. At some point, there's always discussions of Route 45 being extended. I realize that's something that's the equivalent to the Star Line happening. At some point it may, but at which time right-of-way dedication may be required that will have to be considered, as well as how access may take place within the site.
And how many units?
Currently, it's being proposed at 56 units, which is relatively low density considering the 32 acres that is on the site. However, there will be wetland issues that they'll have to deal with as it relates to the Army Corps of Engineer with the creek that's located.
Yeah, it's complex. It's a complex site.
And it goes all the way to the creek, is what you're talking about.
It will go as close to it as the Army Corps of Engineers will allow it.
But the 32 acres goes.
Correct. It slopes north to south. The development will be primarily from the north with, I believe, either a 50 or 100-foot landscape buffer along 45 and Buffalo Grove Road. So that'll be hearing as a concept review. Another item is Sam's Club is coming before the village board for concept review for a fueling station in their parking lot. That was previously approved as a special use way back in 2006. However, the special use expired after several petitions to maintain the special use. However, no actions took place. They are now back before us to be reconsidered. Other items that may be coming forward are the Lot 2 of the adjacent to the library. They're looking to put a parking lot there at that location. That is village property, so that will require an intergovernmental agreement and several conversations with the library as well as adjacent property owners as it relates to the use or future use of the surrounding areas.
That being the park district.
That being the park district. Our good friends. And
Oh, good.
just kind of as an update of the previous hearing, we had before the Planning and Zoning Commission of the Deer Path item. The village board and the committee of the whole agreed with a consensus by the commission not to pursue any zoning or text amendment changes into allowing a variation, and instead sending a letter out to residents impacted to remind them of their ability to apply through the Zoning Board of Appeals for a wider driveway.
Were they going to consider waiving the fees to do that?
I don't think so.
That item wasn't specifically addressed and won't be. However, should that request be made by a resident, that would certainly be something we would consider as part of the application. And that's it.
Okay, we have minutes from December 3rd meeting to approve. Anybody care to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
I do have a comment on page 3 of on the vote. Underneath the vote, the commission voted 3-3, so we did not vote to recommend approval. So I just wanted to make note of that.
That is correct, and in that note will be, that change will be noted in the minutes. Essentially what it equates to is it's a motion to approve that did not pass. And that does not require roll call. Just
Okay.
proclamation.
We have a motion and a second to approve as amended.
Sure. Good.
Okay, both agree? Call the roll. All, no, we'll do it by voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No.
And then just a motion to adjourn.
Okay. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.
Okay, now we're done. Do we have anything going on any of our vacancies? Vacant buildings, anything happening?
Vacant buildings.
We got those.